Welcome to your Clinical Trials Programming Knowledge Badge revision. If you're staring at all that documentation feeling completely overwhelmed right now, take a breath. We've got this.
You might be thinking, SDTM, ADaM, ADSL, ADAE, ISO dates, study day, and SQL. Do you really need to memorize everything? No. These 20 questions follow a few connected rules. Today, we're boiling all that heavy technical material down into a rapid, high-yield cheat sheet.
Here's our game plan for today. We'll quickly hit clinical trial foundations, SDTM core essentials, dates, arrays, and macros, then ADaM and traceability, PROC SQL workflows, and finally, we'll wrap up with a rapid final revision. Let's jump right in.
Starting off with Section 1, Clinical Trial Foundations, Concepts 1 and 2.
Let's look at Concept 1. I always hear beginners ask, is Phase 3 just a tiny quick initial test? Nope, that is a classic exam trap. Here's your memory rule. Phase 3 is all about confirming benefit and safety at scale. We're talking thousands of patients before a drug ever goes to market. And what about Concept 2, crossover? Does that mean taking two different experimental drugs at the exact same time? Again, exam trap. Your memory rule is crossover is a treatment sequence with a washout period in between. You take one, clear it completely out of your system, then take the other.
Moving right along to Section 2, SDTM Core Essentials, covering Concepts 3 and 4.
So you might be wondering, what actually is SDTM, and is it instantly ready for analysis? Hold up, exam trap. SDTM is purely for tabulation. It is absolutely not used for direct analysis. The memory rule for Concept 3 is SDTM simply represents exactly what happened in the study. It's just the raw, standardized data. Now for Concept 4, we have SDTM variable roles. Basically, every single variable has a specific job, like an identifier or a topic, that strictly defines its function.
Let's talk identifiers. Would a patient's age be an identifier variable? Nope, age is a characteristic. For Concept 5, your memory rule is US Subject D. The unique subject identifier is your primary identifier. Moving to Concept 6. Do expected and required mean the exact same thing? Definitely not. Huge exam trap. Here's the memory rule. Required variables must be included and populated, no missing values allowed whatsoever. Expected variables, on the other hand, must be included, but may be missing if the data just wasn't collected.
All right, on to Section 3, Dates, Arrays, and Macros, Concepts 7 through 11.
Dates always trip people up. If a patient takes their very first dose, is that study day 0? Stop right there. That is probably the biggest exam trap on the test. Memory rule for Concept 8. Reference start date is study day 1. There is no study day 0. The timeline skips straight from day -1 directly to day 1. And for Concept 7, anytime you see an SDTM variable ending in --DTC, your memory rule is it's strictly an ISO 8601 character date string formatted as year, month, day.
Now, what happens if you're writing a ton of repetitive code or you have extra data that just doesn't fit the standard domains? For Concept 9, here's the memory rule. SAS macros provide the benefits of reusable code. They dynamically replace text so you aren't constantly copying pasting the exact same logic. As for that extra data, Concept 10 brings in SUPP, or supplemental domains. Memory rule. Subdomains store sponsor-defined qualifiers linked to a parent record.
Let's look at Concept 11, arrays. A common beginner question is, are arrays a permanent new data structure I have to maintain? Exam trap. Not at all. Memory rule. Arrays are just a temporary grouping mechanism used for transforming related variables. You basically use them inside a data step to loop through and apply the exact same mathematical or formatting operation across multiple columns simultaneously. It's super clean and super efficient.
Now we hit Section 4, ADMA and traceability, covering Concepts 12 to 17. This is where the real magic happens. We're prepping for analysis, but how do regulatory reviewers actually know where your ADaM numbers came from? Concept 12's memory role is ADaM dictates how the data will be analyzed, and traceability proves its exact lineage back to STM. And for Concept 13, how do we document that lineage? Memory role. The Variable Metadata Specification tab strictly documents the variable origin and derivation logic so anyone can trace your math. Let's talk ADSL, the Subject Level Analysis Dataset.
Can a patient have multiple rows in ADSL if they have multiple clinic visits? Exam trap. Never. Concept 14, memory rule. ADSL is strictly one record per subject. Now for concept 15, let's look at treatment variables. Memory rule. TRTO1P is the planned treatment and TRTO1A is the actual treatment. If there's some sort of clinical error and someone gets the wrong pill, these two will be totally different.
On to concept 16, ADE, the adverse event dataset. Memory rule. ADE strictly follows OCCDS, which stands for occurrence data structure. Finally, concept 17 is the treatment emergent flag, or TRTEMFL. If a patient gets a sudden headache, did it happen because of the drug? Memory rule. Treatment emergent flag logic checks if an adverse event started on or after the first dose reference date. You're simply logically comparing the AE start date to the treatment start date.
Section 5, PROC SQL workflows. Concepts 18 and 19.
Does absolutely everything in SAS have to be a standard data step? Nope. Enter concept 18. Memory rule. PROC SQL create table achieves the exact same data creation result as a data step, but it uses a totally different, universally recognized SQL syntax. It's incredibly powerful for quick queries.
Let's talk merges, specifically concept 19. If you use a left joint, does it drop all the records from your main table that don't match something in the right table? Total exam trap. Memory rule. A left join will keep all rows from the left table. If there's no match on the right, it just leaves those new columns blank. Your left side records are perfectly safe.
Okay, concept 20 strings it all together. Here is the complete workflow. First, we take raw collected data and standardize it into SDTM. That represents what happened. Second, we convert that into ADaM, mapping things like DM to ADSL and AE to ADaE. That dictates how it will be analyzed. Finally, we use that ADaM data to generate our final statistical analysis tables, listings, and figures.
Section 6. Let's do a rapid final revision of all 20 concepts.
Take a deep breath. Here is your 45-second recap. 1. Phase 3 confirms benefit and safety at scale. 2. Crossover is a treatment sequence with a washout. 3. SDTM is what happened in the study. 4. Roles define a variable's function. 5. USUBJID is your primary identifier. 6. Required means included and populated. Expected means included but may be missing. 7. --DTC is an ISO 8601 character date. 8. Reference start date is study day 1, there is no study day 0. 9. Macros give you reusable code. 10. SUPP means sponsor-defined qualifier linked to a parent record.
Keep it going. 11. Arrays are for transforming related variables. 12. Traceability links ADaM back to SDTM. 13. Variable underscore metadata documents variable origin and derivation. 14. ADSL is strictly one record per subject. 15. TRTO1P is planned treatment. TRTO1A is actual treatment. 16. ADaE OOCDS. 17. Treatment emergent flag logic checks if an AE started on or after the first dose. 18. PROC SQL create table uses SQL syntax. 19. Left join means keep all rows from the left table. 20. The workflow is SDTM to ADaM to analysis. Boom. You got this.
And that is your ultimate cheat sheet for the Foundations of Clinical Trials Programming Knowledge Badge. Now, please remember, use this cheat sheet together with the official SAS Learning materials and hands-on programming practice. Save this explainer before attempting the Knowledge Badge, and follow Reset with Sakshi for hands-on clinical SAS, SDTM, and ADaM lessons. Comment which detailed lesson you want next: ADSL, ADaE, SDTM dates, PROC SQL, or SAS macros. As you head into your exam, just remember, behind every single line of SAS code, there is a patient waiting for a treatment. Good luck out there.